The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 1 of 40. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling. Build a multi-million-dollar SaaS without venture capital. Comprehensive summary. All key ideas and frameworks. Covers all chapters. Introduction, market pricing, marketing team metrics, mindset. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 2 of 40. About this book and its author. Who is Rob Walling? Rob Walling is a serial entrepreneur who has started 6 companies, 5 bootstrapped, 1 funded. He has been teaching founders how to build, launch, and grow startups for over 17 years. He runs MicroConf, the largest community for non-venture track SaaS founders, and Tiny Seed, the first bootstrapper-friendly accelerator for SaaS businesses. His podcast, Startups for the Rest of Us, has been published weekly since 2010 and surpassed 10 million downloads. He has invested in more than 125 companies and has been quoted in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Inc. magazine. This is H's 4th book about building startups. Most notably, Walling Co. founded and bootstrapped Drip, a marketing automation and email service provider, which grew to become a top 10 company in its space before being acquired by LedPages in 2016. That acquisition was life-changing and is the lived experience behind most of the frameworks in this book. Who this book is for. The SaaS Playbook is written specifically for founders who want to build ambitious, sustainable SaaS businesses without relying on large amounts of venture capital. It is for aspiring founders looking to replace their income and eventually build a 7- or 8-figure SaaS business, technical founders, developers, code builders, who need to develop their business and marketing skills, non-technical founders who want to understand what it takes to launch and grow a SaaS product, existing founders with a side project generating revenue who want to scale it, anyone considering whether to raise funding or bootstrap their startup. Who this book is not for. Walling is explicit about who will not get value from this book. Founders determined to pursue venture capital and build a billion-dollar unicorn company. People looking for excuses not to make progress. The book does not coddle or give empty reassurances. Those who want to stay small indefinitely. For that, Walling recommends his earlier book Start Small, Stay Small. People looking for feel-good platitudes like, follow your passion, or, build an audience and ask them what they want, the core premise. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 3 of 40. The dominant startup narrative assumes you must raise venture capital to build a real company. Walling challenges this directly. More than 99% of startups never receive VC funding, and the vast majority of funded companies ultimately fail. Bootstrapping offers a different, more reliable path to wealth and freedom. I am not anti-venture capital. I am anti-everyone thinking venture capital is the only way to start a tech company. Rob Walling, 2009. Bootstrapping takes longer to generate life-changing wealth, but the probability of success is dramatically higher. Walling estimates a 0.01% chance of making $100 million via VC versus a 20 to 30% chance of making hundreds of thousands or millions through bootstrapping, if you avoid the most common mistakes. Central mantra: build your business, not your slide deck. Key takeaway: raising funding is a tool, not a goal. The goal is building a profitable business that serves customers, founders, and employees. Most founders don't need permission from investors to start. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 4 of 40. Part 1. Foundations: what bootstrapping really means. The funding spectrum. From bootstrap to venture funded, the startup world is no longer a simple binary of bootstrap versus funded. Walling introduces key distinctions. Bootstrapped: you started the business on your own, with limited resources, growing it slowly as the business generated cash. Complete control, no investor obligations. This is the longer road, but the one that preserves founder freedom. Venture funded: found investors who write checks with expectations of $1 billion outcome. The cycle involves raising every 18 months, diluting equity repeatedly, and aiming for an IPO or massive acquisition. Works for a tiny minority of companies. Self-funded: using profits from one business to fund the next. Walling did this with Drip, investing $150,000 to $200,000 of profits from a prior SaaS into building and launching Drip before it reached profitability. Mostly bootstrapped, raising small amounts, $100,000 to $500,000, from bootstrapper-friendly sources like Tiny Seed, friends, family, or non-VC angel investors, without getting onto the venture treadmill. Customer.io raised $250,000 in 2012 and is now a highly profitable 8-figure SaaS. Castos raised $120,000 from tiny seed but was run like a bootstrapped company throughout. Walling's Rule. In this book, Bootstrapped covers bootstrapped, self-funded, and mostly bootstrapped companies. What matters is your approach, building a real product for real customers who pay real money, not whether you've ever taken $1 of funding. The stair-step method of entrepreneurship. One of Walling's signature frameworks, the stair-step method describes how founders should progress through increasing levels of complexity and risk. Step 1. Your first product. A simple product with a simple marketing plan, usually with a single traffic channel. Examples include WordPress plugins, Shopify add-ons, or niche tools. The goal is to start generating revenue and learn the fundamentals, customer research, basic marketing and product iteration. Step 2. Rinse and repeat. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 5 of 40. Double down on what worked in step 1 and repeat. Continue improving at low-cost traffic channels that are already working. Build ownership of your time by getting products generating $5,000 to $30,000 per month before tackling the complexity of SaaS. Step 3. Standalone SaaS. SaaS is complex to build and market, with a long on-ramp to substantial revenue. The stair-step method is designed to help founders build the experience, skills, confidence, time, and cash needed before tackling this challenge. That said, many founders successfully skip the stairs, but Walling cautions that without the experience, the risk of failure increases. Why the stair steps? SaaS requires mastering product development, customer success, pricing strategy, multiple marketing channels, team management, and metrics simultaneously. Doing this without prior experience is very difficult. The stairs let you build each skill before layering the next one. Why SaaS is the best business model. Recurring revenue. Every business wishes it could charge subscriptions and get paid in advance. With SaaS, it's built into the model. Customers expect to pay monthly or annually. Recurring revenue protects during recessions and compounds over time. Walling calls it a Business cheat code. Recession resistant. During the 2008 financial crisis, Walling's one-time fee software products saw revenue collapse overnight. But SaaS products maintain a baseline of existing customers even during economic downturns, because canceling a tool that's embedded in your workflow takes deliberate action. High margins. Mature SaaS businesses typically operate at 70 to 80% gross margins, far exceeding most traditional businesses. Once the product is built, the cost to serve additional customers is minimal. Predictable and scalable. Monthly recurring revenue, MRR, is highly predictable, making financial planning and hiring decisions far easier. This predictability makes SaaS businesses among the most valuable per dollar of revenue of any business type. Acquisition value. SaaS companies typically sell for 3 to 7x annual recurring revenue, in the lower, middle market, far above most other business types. The recurring revenue base, predictability, and growth trajectory all contribute to premium valuations. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 6 of 40. Part 2, Market, the foundation of everything. Walling opens this section by making a strong claim. Market selection is the single most important decision a founder makes. A great product in a weak market will fail. A mediocre product in a strong, growing market with strong product market fit can succeed. Most early-stage mistakes trace back to market problems, not product problems. Strengthening product market fit. What is product market fit? Product market fit, PMF, is when you've built something that a meaningful group of people want and are willing to pay for. It's not a destination, it's a continuous process of refinement. Walling describes it as the state where your product is so good at solving a real problem that customers would be genuinely upset if you shut it down. How to assess your current PMF. The most reliable signal of PMF is retention and growth. If customers are staying and referring others, you have it. If churn is high and customers are leaving after trying the product, you don't. Other indicators include Net Promoter Score, are customers actively recommending you? Churn rate, is revenue declining or growing organically? Customer interviews, do customers describe your product as must-have? Support volume, are customers asking for help because they're heavily invested in using you? The 3 questions for feature requests. Managing product market fit means managing your roadmap carefully. When customers request features, Walling recommends asking 3 questions before building. Question 1, what's the use case? What problem are they actually trying to solve? Often you'll realize you already have a solution they haven't found, or the problem can be addressed more simply. Question 2. What percentage of customers will use this? Under 5 to 10%? Consider whether it's worth building at all, or whether it should be hidden in advanced settings. 20% or more? Seriously consider building. Question 3. Does this fit with my vision of the product? Every feature has opportunity costs. If it doesn't fit your strategic direction, the answer should usually be no. Steve Jobs' principle. People think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on. But that's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 other good ideas. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. Integrations as a shortcut. Many feature requests can be addressed through integrations rather than building natively. A problem that might take weeks to solve internally might already be solved by another product, and integrating their API can take days. This also creates moats, discussed below. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 7 of 40. How to compete in a competitive market. Why competitive markets can be attractive and mature. Competitive market is a proven market. You already know people will pay for the problem your product solves. If you can find an underserved niche or a way to compete differently, competitive markets can be highly lucrative. However, Walling cautions against entering your very first startup in a highly competitive market without prior experience or funding. Compete on price. If you can offer more than 80% of what the market leaders offer at half the cost, you can gain initial traction. In mature markets, large players have raised prices over time, leaving room for a lower-priced alternative. Walling used this strategy at Drip in the early days, not as a permanent positioning, but to win early adopters before building brand credibility. Compete on sales model. Many incumbents require demos, mandatory setup fees, and long sales cycles. Entering with a self-serve model, pricing listed publicly on your website, and a free trial gives you a massive advantage with customers who are frustrated by friction. When Drip launched, its biggest competitor, Infusionsoft, charged a couple $1,000 mandatory onboarding fee before you could even see the product. Compete on product. Large companies with 10 to 15-year-old codebases often have terrible UX. A modern, intuitive product can win customers who are frustrated with legacy tools. Examples include Xero competing with QuickBooks and Pipedrive, Close competing with Salesforce. This advantage is temporary. Your UI will age too, but it can be a decisive edge in early growth. Using judo on your competition. Don't try to out-muscle large competitors. Use their size against them. Big companies are slow, have legacy code, and often have frustrated customers looking for an escape. Help those customers migrate to your tool and they will become word-of-mouth advocates. Drip's homepage literally said, lightweight marketing automation that doesn't suck, a direct reference to its clunky competitors. How much to worry about competition? Walling's advice. Most founders worry far too much about competitors. You need your finger on the pulse, but constant monitoring is bad for mental health and productivity. Focus your competitive intelligence on just 2 things: high-level announcements, new funding, major feature launches, significant positioning shifts. Read them, understand them, but don't lose sleep. Deals you're losing. If you're consistently losing to a specific competitor, find out why and address the specific objection. Things you should largely ignore. Competitors' low-level details. Their polished image doesn't mean they know what they're doing. Funding announcements. Most companies that raise money. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 8 of 40. Blow through it in 18 months, and being copied, inevitable if you're successful. Manage your mindset. How to build a moat. As your SaaS scales, you need to proactively defend against competition. Walling identifies 4 real moats and 1 false moat. Moat 1. Integrations, network effect. Every integration a customer activates, especially ones that pull data into your database, is another reason not to switch. Zapier is the prototype, 3,000 plus integrations, many with non-public APIs. A competitor would need each of those 3,000 companies to build a separate integration just to match it. The moat compounds with every new integration added. Moat 2. Brand is not your color scheme or logo. It's your reputation, what people say about you when you're not around. A strong brand means you're mentioned in conversations, featured in comparisons, and recognized as a category player. Brand moat means customers choose you as a unique offering rather than comparing features and price. Positioning is part of brand, e.g., building a digital asset management tool specifically for museums. Resource: April Dunford's book Obviously Awesome is recommended as the best positioning book for SaaS companies. Moat 3. Owned traffic channels. If you rank number 1 on Google for multiple high-intent keywords in your space, you have a significant moat. Even with a commoditized product, owned organic traffic can drive consistent growth. Caveat: this moat is brittle. Algorithm changes can tank businesses overnight if SEO is their only channel. Moat 4. High switching costs. Products that are expensive or time-consuming to migrate away from have a retention moat. APIs that require developer time to rip out, like Stripe, Twilio, SendGrid. Tools that require organizational interchange, like Slack, and products with complex workflows that must be recreated are all high switching cost products. Low switching cost example: a social media scheduling tool which has no meaningful lock-in. The false moat: unique features. Features are great differentiators for a few months until competitors duplicate them. Believing features are a moat is a trap. A moat must endure and grow stronger over time. Unique features create a hamster wheel, not a moat. Key takeaway: build moats deliberately. The best bootstrapped moats are integrations, brand, and own traffic channels, because they compound over time and are difficult for competitors to replicate quickly. Common mistakes and siren songs to avoid. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 9 of 40. Translating your product into other languages almost never worth it unless your existing customers are already bilingual and you're specifically serving their end users. You're not just translating the app, you're taking on marketing, support, and community management in another language. Walling has only seen this work once, in a very specific circumstance. White labeling: usually a waste of time. Most white label requests come from people who want to start a business but can't build a product and have no audience. Minimum to justify: charge $30,000 to $50,000 upfront. If they won't pay that, they're not serious. Even then, it costs you brand equity. Your brand is a moat, and white labeling erodes it. Adding other verticals: too early, tempting when growth slows, but dangerous. Adding wedding coordinators to a wedding photographer. SaaS adds complexity without solving your real problem. Unless you already dominate your niche, expanding verticals prematurely leads to complexity and diluted focus. Underpricing your products: the single most common mistake Walling sees. Most reasons founders price too low are psychological: fear of rejection, inability to see their own value, comparison to cheap competitors. Underpricing costs you in two ways: you need far more customers, and your marketing options are severely limited by low ARPA. Rule of thumb: if no one's complaining about your price, you're probably priced too low. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 10 of 40, part 3. Pricing. The biggest lever in SaaS. Pricing is the single largest lever in a SaaS business, and almost no one gets it right out of the gate. Fortunately, you don't need a PhD to structure it well. Finding the right pricing is part theory, part experimentation, and part founder intuition. Pricing structure fundamentals: price points by market segment. Walling's framework for thinking about price points. Consumer products: $10 to $15 per month, tolerable only with no touch sign up, low support burden, and very high virality. SMB, prosumer: $50 plus per month, more breathing room, lower churn. Mid-market with some sales: $250 plus per month, demo may be required, longer sales cycles. High-touch sales: $1,000 plus per month, must charge enough to justify sales cost. Enterprise with procurement: $30,000 plus per year, multi-demo process, procurement, and compliance. Use competitor and adjacent tool pricing as a mental map. But compare sales process, not just features. A product sold with no demo should be priced differently than one requiring multiple rounds of negotiation. Segmenting customers for pricing tiers: the first step in structuring pricing is segmenting your customers by size, usage, and value received. Walling uses Squadcast as an example. Hobbyist podcasters, gaming, fly, fishing, might pay $10 to $15 per month. Business podcasters, like Walling's own show, likely $50 to $100 per month. Large podcast networks, NPR, iHeartRadio, might pay 20x the base plan and have very different needs. This segmentation makes pricing tiers obvious. Each tier should reflect meaningfully different levels of value delivered. SaaS cheat code. Expansion revenue: high voltage SaaS cheat code. Expansion revenue. Expansion revenue occurs when customers pay you more as they get more value from your product. either by manually upgrading or being automatically moved to higher tiers as usage increases. When expansion revenue outpaces churn, you achieve net negative churn, which is one of the most powerful dynamics in SaaS. Value metrics. A value metric is how you measure the per-unit value of your product. Good value metrics tie directly to your customer's success. MailChimp, subscriber count: the more subscribers, the more value, the more they pay. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 11 of 40. Salesforce, seat count: more users means more team value. Squadcast, recording hours: more production means more value. Dropbox, storage used: directly tied to how much they store. When customers grow their businesses, they automatically move up your pricing tiers, making expansion revenue feel natural rather than pushy. Note: seat-based pricing only makes sense when different users see genuinely different things when they log in. If two users have identical experiences, they'll just share a login. Feature gating: the second way to create expansion revenue is by expanding what features customers can access at higher plans. This is less effective than value metrics because it's not intrinsically tied to customer growth, but it can work when usage doesn't naturally scale with the customer's business. An example: gating a Tableau integration behind a premium tier, knowing that customers who want Tableau likely have the budget for it. Using both models, combining value metrics with feature gating, is common in mature SaaS products, e.g., per-seat pricing with 2 or 3 levels of feature access. For early-stage founders, Walling recommends starting with just one model first, then refining as you understand your customer base better. Enterprise pricing: one of the most common pricing mistakes is charging too little for enterprise customers. Enterprise deals have fundamentally different dynamics: complex procurement processes, custom integrations, dedicated account management, security reviews. If you're only charging 2 to 3x your standard plan, you will lose money trying to serve enterprise customers and service their accounts. Loose rule of thumb: enterprise tiers should be 10 to 20x your standard plan. If you're charging $99 per month standard, your enterprise tier should start around $1,000 per month. If you're only charging $200, you won't be able to hire the customer success person or salesperson needed to manage the relationship. The freemium question: according to the State of Independent SaaS report, 66% of SaaS products offer a free trial, but only 17% offer a forever, free plan. Whether freemium is right for you depends on your situation. When freemium works best when the product is simple and delivers near-instant value without onboarding. Support burden per free user is very low. There's virality built in. Every free user promotes you. Per user or per usage costs are low. Example: an e-signature app. The user uploads a document, signs or sends it in minutes, gets immediate value. Every document sent spreads your brand virally. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 12 of 40. When freemium doesn't work: freemium is problematic when your product requires extensive setup and onboarding. Free users are fundamentally different from paid users, different verticals, different needs. Free users aren't helping drive paid growth through virality or upgrades. Your company is cash constrained. Freemium pushes revenue into the future. Example: a construction management CRM. Complex setup, no virality, high support burden per user. Freemium would drain resources without driving growth. The venture-backed advantage: there's a reason venture-backed companies offer freemium and many bootstrappers don't. They can afford to subsidize a large user base while waiting for conversion. Bootstrappers generally need cash now. If cash is tight, freemium is usually a bad choice. The credit card question: Walling's default recommendation: require a credit card up front. His reasoning: a person willing to enter a credit card has more genuine interest in your product. It reduces tire kickers in your funnel. Free trials without credit cards can be expensive. Support, onboarding, infrastructure costs apply to non-converters. You get cleaner data about who your actual customers are. Removing the credit card requirement can increase trial volume 10x, but 90% of those additional trials won't convert. You end up with noise that makes it harder to understand your real customers. When to remove the credit card requirement: Walling has seen founders successfully remove the credit card requirement when they had more than $20,000 MRR and knew their metrics intimately, had the support capacity to handle the influx. We're specifically trying to reach employees who don't have company credit cards. If you do remove the requirement, be obsessive about measuring the impact on all downstream metrics, trial, to paid, churn, etc., before drawing conclusions. Castos took almost 2 months after removing the requirement to get reliable new numbers. When and how to raise prices. When to raise. Walling recommends revisiting pricing every 6 to 12 months. Most founders are perpetually underpriced. 2 key reasons to raise prices. Make more money. More revenue means more hiring capacity, more marketing spend, more profit. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 13 of 40, unlock more marketing channels. A $20 per month ARPA makes approximately 5 marketing channels viable. A $500 per month ARPA makes approximately 10. A $5,000 per month ARPA opens every channel. How to raise prices without catastrophe. Practical options for raising prices. Decrease value metric thresholds while keeping prices the same, e.g., reduce included subscribers from 3,000 to 2,500 at the $49 tier. Hide your lowest pricing tier on your pricing page. Raise prices across the board and monitor cohort data closely. Multiply pricing by 10 to target a new, higher, value market segment, like Gather did. Use the experiment versus certainty mindset. If you're confident, make it a decisive change. If uncertain, treat it as a reversible experiment and track cohorts closely. Communicating price increases. When announcing a price increase to existing customers, follow this template. 1. Set the stage for the value your product provides: trust, track record, reliability. 2. State clearly, we're changing our pricing. 3. Provide high-level justification, new features, competitive positioning, etc. 4. Specify who is affected and when. 5. Optional, additional justification. 6. Reach out with questions, keep lines of communication open. Walling recommends 2 to 4 months between announcement and implementation, long enough for customers to plan, short enough that they don't forget before it takes effect. Never raise prices without notice. Rob's Rule of 10 for grandfathering. Rob's Rule of 10. If raising prices for existing customers will not grow MRR by at least 10%, it's rarely worth the headache, support burden, brand damage, and potential churn. If the increase won't move the needle significantly, grandfather everyone. If you're moving from $9 to $99 per month, you may not be able to afford to grandfather, but prepare for an onslaught of support emails as lower paying customers churn. Aspirational pricing. Walling coined the term aspirational pricing from his experience at Drip. When customers said $49 per month was too expensive for what was then just an email capture widget, he didn't drop the price, he used the feedback as a target to build toward. I wanted to build a tool that was an easy sell at $49 per month. Keeping the price high forced him to keep adding value. Key takeaway: pricing is the most underutilized lever in SaaS. Most founders undercharge out of psychological fear, not market reality. Raising prices almost always generates net positive results: more revenue, more marketing options, and better customer segments. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 14 of 40, part 4. Marketing, finding and converting customers. There's a harmful myth that a great product sells itself. Walling spent years hoping his products would catch on based on their virtues alone, before realizing that the only way to reliably build a business is to get good at marketing. Marketing is the big jest area of concern for most SaaS startups. It's the most common answer when tiny seed applicants are asked about their biggest hurdle. Marketing funnels. The 3 core models: high touch funnel. A high touch funnel gives prospects significant human interaction throughout their buying decision. A prospect might first encounter you at a trade show, then be followed up with by a sales rep, offered a demo, and converted through a sales conversation before being handed to customer success for onboarding. High touch funnels work best for products priced $500 plus per month, complex products requiring education and configuration, enterprises with procurement processes. Conversion rates vary widely by industry and ACV. Drip achieved a 25 to 35% close rate from demo to customer in its pre-acquisition days, with most being one call closes. Low touch funnel. A low touch or no touch funnel works when you have a wide market and a lower priced product. Prospects discover you through SEO or ads, sign up for a free trial without speaking to anyone, and automatically convert to a paid plan. Low touch funnels tend to have lower conversion rates and higher churn, but the cost to acquire customers is much lower. Their volume games focused on inbound tactics: SEO, PPC, content marketing, influencer marketing. SaaS cheat code. Dual funnels. High voltage SaaS cheat code. Dual funnels target both a wide audience at a low price point and a premium enterprise audience at a high price point simultaneously. The low-touch funnel builds brand and word of mouth, which feeds the high-touch, high-priced funnel. In early days, the low-touch funnel generates most revenue. As you build your user base and attract high-end customers, the revenue mix shifts and both funnels accelerate growth. Diagnosing a broken funnel. Work from the bottom of the funnel up. Start with the least visible problems first. High churn after 1 to 2 months. Problem with onboarding or product market fit. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 15 of 40. Low trial, 2. Paid conversion. Problem with onboarding, not reaching value fast enough, or sales process, good traffic but no trial sign, ups. Problem with value proposition, copy, or positioning, fix the bottom before optimizing the top. Sending more traffic to a leaky funnel is wasting money. The 20 B2B SaaS marketing approaches. The Big 5, the most common approaches that work for bootstrapped B2B SaaS. 1. SEO, not just Google, YouTube, 2 search engine, Amazon, iOS App Store, WordPress plugin repository, Shopify App Store, Chrome Web Store, and many others. Drip ranked well for email marketing terms in the WordPress plugin repository. Think broadly about where your customers search for your solution. 2. PPC advertising, tried and true, usually expensive way to drive traffic quickly. Includes Google AdWords, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Amazon, Capterra, LinkedIn. Essential when you need traffic fast and have the ACV to justify it. 3. Cold outreach, direct outreach via email, phone, LinkedIn, or DMs. Works best when you can find a list of businesses with a signal there ready for your product. Example, Drip targeted Infusionsoft customers approximately 8 months into their annual contract, knowing those customers were likely evaluating alternatives. 4. Integration marketing, build integrations with complementary tools and promote them together. Think about what happens before or after someone uses your product and build those partnerships. Start with a minimum viable integration, don't build the full version until you both agree to promote it. Results can be long, lasting. Articles and forum posts continue generating leads for years. 5. Content marketing, blog posts, ebooks, audio, podcasts, video, YouTube, and in-person courses to build credibility, earn links, and attract traffic. Different from SEO, content marketing can succeed through virality or audience building even without high search rankings. Most founders start producing content themselves before hiring help. Other important approaches: affiliate marketing. 10 to 30% commission to affiliates with established audiences. Be careful, at 30% commission with 30 to 50% net margins, you can have impressive revenue but minimal profit. Use tiered commission rates, 20% standard, 30% for premium affiliates. In-person events and trade shows can be fantastic in industries where business is done in person. Calculate ROI carefully. Will landing one deal justify the cost of attending? The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 16 of 40. Free tools. Engineering as marketing. Build a free software tool to generate traffic and introduce prospects to your main product. HubSpot's website grader and Signal-Z, signature creator are examples. Launch sites, product hunt, beta list, and similar discovery sites for getting initial traction. Daily deal sites, AppSumo, PitchGround, can bring large volumes of customers but often at deeply discounted pricing. Other people's audiences, guest posts, podcast tours, YouTube tours. One of the most underrated approaches for early-stage founders. The 3-factor framework for prioritizing marketing. When choosing which marketing approaches to try, evaluate each on 3 dimensions. Speed: how quickly does this approach produce results? Cold outreach can produce results in days. SEO can take 6 to 18 months. In the early days, prioritize faster channels. As your product matures, invest in slower but more durable channels. Walling recommends always working on one fast and one slow approach simultaneously. Cost: how much money does it require? In early stages, think in hard costs rather than your own time. Higher ACV products can justify more expensive channels. As you scale prices, more channels become cost-effective. Scalability: can you turn up the volume on this channel? Product hunt is a one-time event. Answering Quora questions is time-intensive and hard to scale. But well-dialed SEO or PPC can often be scaled by simply investing more, without proportionally more time. The ICE framework for marketing prioritization. After narrowing your marketing options using the 3-factor framework, use ICE to prioritize. Impact. If this works, how big could the potential impact be? Score 1 to 10, confidence. How likely is this to succeed given your situation? Score 1 to 10, ease. How easy is this to execute right now? Score 1 to 10, calculate an ICE score, average or product of the three, and tackle highest scoring approaches first. This can be applied at the level of high-level approaches, SEO, PPC, or individual tactics, blog post, YouTube video, Facebook ads campaign. Marketing experiment best practices. Keep a marketing changelog, a chronological record of every marketing change you make, no matter how small, including website copy updates. If your conversion rate drops unexpectedly 2 weeks from now, you'll be able to trace it back to the specific change that caused it. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 17 of 40. Measure everything, don't rely on gut instinct. Track cost, in dollars and time, and results for every channel. Attribute where your customers are coming from, not just as a best guess but through UTM parameters, sign-up surveys, and tracking cookies. Reuben Games, Sign Well, recommends setting a cookie with referral source when someone first visits your website and saving it to your database at sign-up. Don't spread yourself thin. SaaS companies have been built to 7 and 8 figures by picking just 1 or 2 marketing channels and scaling them well. Start with 1 fast channel, cold outreach, and 1 slow channel, Google SEO, and build expertise before diversifying. The truth about word of mouth: when founders say their leads come from word of mouth, Walling presses further, and usually finds they don't actually know where customers are coming from. Word of mouth is real but accounts for far less than founders assume. At Drip, excellent word of mouth drove only 15 to 25% of new users. The remaining 75 to 85% came from identifiable channels. Real word of mouth, where the market talks about specific players in your space, generally develops around 7 figures of ARR when you've built a recognizable brand. Before that, it's usually just unattributed direct traffic. Sales demos for high-touch funnels. For founders with high-touch funnels, sales skills are non-negotiable. Walling frames sales as an educational conversation, not a persuasion exercise. When selling SaaS, think of yourself as an unpaid expert who's helping the prospect solve their problem using software. Ina Volset, Tiny Seed County. Founder qualify before demoing. There are few things worse than running a demo for someone without the budget or use case for your product. Ask about budget, timeline, company size, and the specific problem before getting on a call. Use a qualifying form to pre-filter demo requests. Have a script even if you can run a demo with your eyes closed. A standard script lets you train someone to take over sales. It also ensures consistency and allows you to identify where prospects drop off. Demo best practice. It's not a product tour, don't walk through every feature. A sales demo is proof you can solve their specific problem, not a comprehensive walkthrough. Only show the features relevant to their stated pain. Key demo questions: what problem are you looking to solve? This is the most important. Anchor the demo on their pain, not your features. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 18 of 40. How are you solving that problem today? Understand the incumbent so you can position your solution relative to what they know. How big is your organization? Understand the deal size and decision-making process. How sophisticated is their understanding? Calibrate depth of explanation. What's the decision-making process? Who else needs to sign off? When should you follow up? The hack. Screen prospects automatically at Drip. Anyone who clicked Book AD. Emo saw a pop-up asking their name and list size. Low list size. Redirected to a self-service video demo. High list size. Directed to the scheduling link for a live demo. As Drip grew, the threshold for live demos was raised, freeing up sales team time for higher value prospects. Key takeaway: the best marketing strategy is rarely trying everything, it's finding 1 or 2 channels that work and scaling them relentlessly. Marketing is a test and measure discipline, not a creative exercise. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 19 of 40, part 5. Team, building and growing your people in the early days. Every founder wears every hat. Support, code, marketing, sales, onboarding. To grow, you must systematically peel off hats and delegate them to the right people. The key principle: delegate roles, not tasks. Departments in a SaaS company. Walling identifies the core departments and likely first hires for each product, focused on what to build and how it functions. First hire: product manager, typically above $1 million ARR, design, defines how features should look and function from the user's perspective. First hire, UX designer, engineering, writes code and manages production servers. First hire, software engineer, marketing, generates and converts inbound leads. First hire, depends on funnel type, but typically someone with experience in 1 to 2 specific channels, SEO, PPC, sales, brings in qualified leads and closes deals. First hire, account executive who qualifies and closes their own deals, customer support, answers incoming tickets, chats, and calls. Often the earliest hire, customer success, focuses on onboarding and retention. First hire, customer success manager, HR, operations, compliance, payroll, people ops. Usually combined into an operations manager role later. How to decide what role to fill next. Track your time for 1 to 2 weeks to compile all the tasks you're handling. Group them into departments and roles. Then ask, which of these am I bad at and someone else could do better? Which am I good at but don't enjoy? Which could I stop doing without negative impact? Which could be handed off to a current team member? Which, if leveled up, would most grow the company? As a general rule, support is usually an early hire because it's repetitive and lower value than what founders should spend time on. Sales, marketing implementation, and development come next. The sequence depends on founder skill sets. Combining roles early on when roles don't require 40 hours per week, combining makes sense. Common effective combinations: customer support plus customer success, for lower ARPA products, sales plus customer success, for inbound, warm, lead products, marketing plus sales, at early stages before specialization. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 20 of 40. Important caveat: as a founder, you're often more effective than the average hire. Something you handle in 10 hours might take a new hire 20. And when you're context switching between roles, you're often not doing any of them at full quality. Don't invent job titles. Walling learned this the hard way at Drip. When recruiting for a senior scaling architect, the recruiter couldn't find salary benchmarks and qualified candidates didn't recognize the title in job searches. Use standard SaaS job titles so candidates can find your posting and so your employees can represent their experience accurately to future employers. The standard engineering hierarchy: Chief Technical Officer greater than VP of Engineering, Director of Engineering, Manager of Engineering, Senior Software Engineer, Software Engineer, Junior Software Engineer. Caution with elevated titles for early employees. If you call your first customer service person Head of Customer Success and later need a real manager above them, you've created an awkward situation. Special considerations for technical founders. Technical founders have a natural tendency to solve business problems by building. Is revenue plateauing? Build more features. High churn? Build more features. Closing few sales? Build more features. This is almost never the right answer. Deep coding work requires a maker's schedule, long uninterrupted blocks, while running a startup requires a manager's schedule, fragmented 1-hour blocks filled with calls and tasks. Continuing to do both hampers growth. Walling's advice: hire developer S to get yourself out of the code, and build your marketing and sales skills, because those disciplines drive growth more than additional features. The non-technical founder challenge. 90% of bootstrapped SaaS companies have at least one technical founder. If you don't, you're in a difficult position. You need to hire a developer, can't always evaluate their work, and can't build nights and weekends to conserve cash. Craig Hewitt, Castos, advises: if I did it again, I'd want my first developer to be a co-founder or someone I know very well. I've wasted too much money being misled by developers who don't care about the outcome. Be a team, not a family. Calling employees family is disingenuous. You don't fire your sister. Walling prefers Netflix's high-performing team framing. Teams maintain appropriate boundaries, allow objective performance management, and don't enmesh personal and professional relationships. If you hire and tolerate mediocre performance, your best people will leave and you will build a culture of underperformance. Rule of thumb: no one has ever said, "I fired that person too soon." The regret is almost always that you waited too long. Hiring managers, supervision versus leadership. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 21 of 40. Walling distinguishes between two components of management. Supervisor, approves vacation, gives reviews, handles salary decisions, handles HR nuts and bolts. Leader, gives technical guidance, mentorship, direction, and expertise. Both are manager functions, but they require different skills. In early stages, divide these roles. A brilliant technical lead doesn't need to burn cycles scheduling vacation approvals. 3 levels of thinkers task. Level thinkers, focused on current or next task. Most careers begin here. Project level thinkers. Look ahead weeks or months, juggle multiple priorities, manage complex deliverables. Owner level thinkers. Not just manage projects but improve processes, bring strategic ideas, think months or years ahead. As your business transforms from a product into a company, typically $20,000 to $40,000 MRR, bring project level or owner level thinkers onto your team. Until then, every decision routes back to you, and you will burn out. When to hire managers. Find leads once you have 2 to 3 people in a department. Find a manager once you have 4 to 5. Promote from within when possible, but recognize that being a great individual contributor doesn't automatically make someone a great manager. Many bootstrap founders have never had a real job with good management, making it difficult to model good management themselves. Management truth. Giving both positive and negative feedback builds trust, the most important element of management. Your team needs to trust that you'll be fair, honest, and that you'll take responsibility when things go wrong. Attracting great candidates as a bootstrapper, high pay and Fortune 500 benefits probably aren't your competitive advantage. But you have other advantages. Fully remote work, small team with no politics, direct access to and learning from founders, fast, growing company with interesting problems, meaningful impact on product and company direction. Write job descriptions like sales letters. Show candidates why working at your company will be unlike anywhere they've worked before. Use specific, personality-driven language that filters for people who will thrive in your environment. Players want to work with other players. Signal that you're selective. Equity, stock options, and profit-sharing bonuses. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 22 of 40. Flexible but arbitrary. Can cause resentment if people feel others are favored. If you don't have a profitable year and can't pay bonuses employees were counting on, it damages trust. Better to incentivize with approaches tied to business outcomes. Equity gives emotional and financial ownership. The challenge: equity only pays out when you sell or pay dividends. For bootstrap companies with long time horizons, equity isn't as immediate a motivator. Also has complex tax implications. Giving employees equity in an LLC can create taxable events even when no cash changes hands. Stock options, the standard startup incentive. Employees can purchase shares at a fixed strike price, typically over a 4-year vesting schedule. Simpler tax implications than equity. Most appropriate when your goal is growth and eventual exit. Profit sharing, best for long-term, profitable businesses that aren't planning a near-term exit. Structure as a pool, e.g., 10 to 15% of profits distributed quarterly, allocated to full-time employees. Balsamic gives 25% of the pool equally and 75% based on seniority and cost of living. Quarterly distributions are better than monthly. Less paperwork, or annual, keeps underperformers around too long. The co-founder question: do you need a co-founder? Venture capitalists favor co-founding teams, but in the bootstrapped SaaS space, 56% of successful companies are solo founders. The most equity you'll ever give away is to a co-founder. You don't need one to succeed, but there can be enormous value in having a partner through a long journey. Choosing a co-founder. Are your skills complementary? Developer plus marketer is an ideal pairing. How well do you know this person? Date before you're married. Work on small projects before equity changes hands. Are you protected if things go wrong? Vest everyone's equity, typically over 4 years. How much value does this person actually add? If you're on the fence, the answer is usually no. Too many founders. Adding a third or fourth founder for psychological comfort rather than genuine skill contribution is a mistake. 3 or 4 co-founders often means one weak link who doesn't pull their weight, creating interpersonal dynamics that harm the business. The partnership between co-founders is intense, more time together than with your significant other. More founders isn't inherently better. Key takeaway: hire slowly, fire quickly. Build a high-performing team with clear role definitions and real accountability. Delegate roles, not tasks. And take care of yourself. Founder burnout kills more businesses than bad products do. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 23 of 40. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 24 of 40, part 6. Metrics, the 80/20 framework for SaaS. Most founders get overwhelmed by metrics because they don't know which to track or track too many. Walling's 80/20 approach. Focus on the 20% of metrics that drive 80% of your results. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Peter Drucker. The 2 North Star metrics every SaaS founder should look at these weekly, at minimum. MRR, monthly recurring revenue, how far you've traveled. Month-over-month growth rate, how fast you're going. These are lagging indicators, they tell you what's already happened. To understand what will happen, you need the 3 high, 3 low framework. The 3 high, 3 low metrics framework. These 6 metrics, plus MRR and growth, tell you 2 things: how healthy your business is, and when your revenue will plateau. They are intentionally in tension, pushing one high often pushes another lower. The 3 low metrics, push these down. Low number 1. Customer acquisition cost, CAC. CAC equals all costs associated with acquiring customers divided by number of customers acquired in that period. Includes ad spend, sales salaries, your own time, valued at a rate like $150 per hour, and any other marketing costs. For bootstrappers, most successful companies target a 2 to 6 month payback period. Even at their peak, Drip only extended to 7 to 8 months payback, the high end for bootstrap companies. Contrast with VC-backed companies, where the rule of thumb is spending up to 1/3 of LTV on CAC, which can mean waiting 18+ months to recoup acquisition costs. Bootstrappers can't afford that. Low number 2. Sales effort. A measure of the length of your sales cycle and the number of touch points required to close. Track average days from first demo to close, and average number of calls to close. Ways to reduce sales effort. Self-serve sign up and onboarding. Eliminate the need for a salesperson entirely for lower price tiers. 1. Call close. Target single decision makers, founders, developers, individual managers, rather than committees. Educate prospects before the demo. Qualify aggressively. Provide materials in advance. Ask them to prepare specific information. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 25 of 40. Low number 3. Churn is the Achilles heel that kills or plateaus SaaS apps. Calculate gross revenue churn monthly. Gross MRR churn rate equals gross MRR cancelled divided by MRR at start of month. Churn benchmarks for most bootstrap B2B SaaS. Greater than 10%, catastrophic. 8 to 10%, not good. 6 to 7%, mediocre. 4 to 5%, fine. 2 to 3%, good. Less than 2%, great for high-priced contracts, $25,000 plus per year. These thresholds shift down. Fine is 2 to 3%, good is 1 to 2%, great is under 1%. The plateau formula. Churn tells you exactly when you will hit a growth plateau. Plateau formula: maximum MRR equals new MRR added monthly divided by monthly churn rate. Example, $5,000 new MRR per month with 10% churn. Right pointing arrow. Plateau at $50,000 MRR. Same new MRR with 2% churn. Right pointing arrow. Plateau at $250,000 MRR. Every SaaS founder should calculate their plateau number and put it on a live dashboard. It's a window into the future that gives you time to fix problems before they become crises. The 3 high metrics, push these up. High number 1. Annual contract value, ACV. ACV equals the amount a customer will pay if they stay for a full year, 12 months times monthly subscription, or actual annual contract value. Walling recommends tracking ACV over LTV for bootstrappers. LTV is theoretically useful but practically misleading. A $5,000 LTV received over 8 years has very different cash flow implications than $5,000 received in the first year. ACV keeps you what you said on near-term revenue realities. The best ways to increase ACV: raise prices, target larger businesses, and create enterprise pricing tiers. High number 2. Expansion revenue, when existing customers pay you more as they get more value. This is tracked as a percentage of MRR that comes from upgrades, tier bumps, and increased usage by existing customers. When expansion revenue exceeds gross churn, you achieve net negative churn, meaning your revenue grows even with 0 new customers. This is the most powerful dynamic in SaaS and one of the key SaaS cheat codes. High number 3, referrals. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 26 of 40. The percentage of new customers referred by existing ones. High referrals signal product, market fit, and reduce CAC. Track it by asking, "How did you hear about us?" at sign up. Referred customers have higher conversion rates and take less sales effort. Proactively ask for referrals. Set up an automated email around the 60 to 90-day mark to happy customers. So much of our business is based on referrals. If you're enjoying the product, could you please pass the word along? This simple automation consistent LY produces new customers from nothing. SaaS cheat code. Virality high voltage SaaS cheat code. Virality. When every user you add has a viral coefficient greater than 0, meaning each customer brings at least a fraction of a new customer, you have virality. Strong viral loops, Slack, calendar scheduling apps, signature apps, mean using the product in here NTLY exposes non-users to it. Weak viral loops, watermarks, powered by badges on free plans, expose your brand without creating a direct product experience. Virality is extremely difficult to retrofit. Design for it from the start if you want it. Note, you can absolutely build a SaaS company to millions in revenue with zero virality. It helps enormously when you have it, but it's not a prerequisite. Segmenting churn. Seeing through the averages why aggregates lie a 2.5-star Amazon review with 1,000 reviews sounds mediocre. But if it's 505-star and 501-star reviews, that's a fundamentally different product, loved by half, loathed by the other half. The same logic applies to churn. An 8% aggregate churn MIG-HT hide a $30 per month tier with 11% churn and a $100 per month tier with 4% net churn, negative, meaning expansion outpaces loss. Segmenting by pricing tier almost universally, low, paying customers churn faster and high, paying customers are stickier. Understanding this lets you make strategic decisions about tier pricing, support investment, and which customer segments to prioritize. Segmenting by marketing channel. Some marketing channels attract customers who stay. Others attract customers who churn quickly. PPC leads often have lower LTV than CO or referral leads. Knowing this prevents you from pouring money into channels that generate impressive sign-ups but terrace eyeball retention. Segmenting by cohort, time, churn in the first 60 days often differs dramatically from churn at 12 months. Early churn often signals onboarding failure. Customers aren't getting to value fast enough. Later churn often signals product market fit gaps. Customers find the product doesn't fully meet their needs. Each cause requires a different solution. Finding your minimum path to awesome, MPA. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 27 of 40. The MPA is the moment when everything clicks for a new customer, when they say, "This is amazing." For a social media scheduler, it might be when they schedule their first week of posts. For an email tool, it might be when their first form is live and Captain Youring subscribers. At Drip, Walling built an internal dashboard tracking where each trial user was on the path to awesome, created email list. Installed form, activated form. This created leading indicators of conversion, well before the trial ended. To find your MPA, interview customers who are actively using and loving your product. Ask them, when did you first realize how this would help you? Vanity metrics to ignore 50,000 unique monthly visitors, 25,000 email subscribers, 100 new free trials weekly. These sound impressive until you ask, how many convert to paying customers? Vanity metrics are only useful in context of downstream outcomes. Page views that don't convert to trials are irrelevant. Trials that don't convert to paying customers are just infrastructure cost. SaaS cheat code. Net negative churn. High voltage SaaS cheat code. Net negative churn. When expansion revenue from existing customers outpaces gross churn revenue losses, your net churn is negative. This means you can add 0 new customers in a month and still grow revenue. When combined with new customer acquisition, net negative churn becomes a compounding flywheel that accelerates growth. It also significantly reduces your required CAC since upselling existing customers costs far less than acquiring new ones. To achieve net negative churn, build strong expansion revenue through value, metric pricing and get gross churn below 2 to 3%. One without the other usually isn't enough. Key takeaway, track MRR, growth rate, and the 3 high, 3 low metrics. Calculate your plateau number. Segment churn to understand the real health of your customer base. Build toward net negative churn as your most powerful long-term growth lever. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 28 of 40, part 7. Mindset. The inner game of building SaaS. Walling argues that more than half of being a successful founder is managing your own psychology. This section covers the mental frameworks, habits, and community structures that separate founders who thrive from those who burn out, stagnate, or quit. The 3 factors of success. Success as a founder comes down to 3 factors: hard work, luck, and skill. Their distribution varies enormously between founders. Jason Fried of Basecamp, when asked why Basecamp grew to 3 million accounts, responded, "Truthfully, luck and timing were one and two. And we did a good job, too. But really it was luck and timing. You can only control two of these factors, hard work and skill. You can't control luck, but you can create favorable conditions for it through hard work and skill development. You can also control your mindset. Traits of successful founders bias toward action. Successful founders, when in doubt, do something. They don't wait for perfect information, they don't procrastinate, and they don't find reasons to take longer. They ship. A common failure mode, analysis paralysis, churning without making notable progress. Developing founder gut. Founder gut is the instinct that helps you tune out noise and find the right path. Some founders have it innately, most develop it through experience. You can accelerate its development by learning from others' mistakes rather than only your own, through masterminds, mentors, podcasts, and communities. My founder gut has made huge leaps when I'm around someone who's amazing at something I'm not. Rob Walling. Managing your own psychology. Walling's wife, Dr. Sherry Walling, a psychologist who works with founders, has helped him understand that many founders who fail do so not because of market forces but because of mental blocks, unhelpful patterns, and poor psychology. Some founders succeed despite every obstacle thrown at them. Others self-sabotage at every turn. The difference is internal. Where to focus your time. Risk versus certainty. As your team grows and takes over execution tasks, you need a framework for deciding where to direct your own energy. Certainties. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 29 of 40 tasks that need to get done and you know how to do them. Writing a specific feature, updating website copy, sending a newsletter, filing taxes. These can and should be hired out. They only require execution, not founder-level thinking. Risks. Areas where you're not certain of the right answer. Getting more customers, fixing product, market fit, repositioning the product. These require iteration, trying things, making mistakes, adjusting course. They require founder-level problem solving. Risks are what move the business forward. Key principle, delegate certainties. Focus on risks. As you hire, your job is to hand off everything that has a known solution, freeing you to work on the problems that don't have answers yet. Efficiency versus effectiveness. You can be highly efficient, doing 10 tasks in a day, while being ineffective if you didn't need to do 8 of those tasks. Effectiveness is doing only the 2 tasks that actually drive the business forward. Walling knows a founder with health limitations. WHO only works 3 to 4 hours a day but gets more done than founders working 10 hours, because he has ruthlessly eliminated everything non-essential. Speed bumps versus roadblocks. One of the most important mindset shifts Walling has made, deliberately choosing to see problems as speed bumps, temporary slowdowns, rather than roadblocks, business-ending catastrophes. How speed bumps become roadblocks. Stress and uncertainty activate your lizard brain's fight or flight response. In constant fight or flight mode, most things feel like existential threats. A prospect rejecting your offer feels like the business will fail. A competitor raising funding feels like the end of your market opportunity. These feelings are almost always wrong. Walling's personal example. When trying to land a major customer for Drip, his inner voice said, "If you don't land this customer, the business is going to fail." That was factually inaccurate. They had multiple major prospects every month. It was a speed bump he had turned into a roadblock. The optionality mindset. Walling's current practice. When facing a serious problem, map out 3 to 4 possible options if things go wrong. These options are usually not optimal. They involve spending more money, investing more time, or navigating awkward situations, but none of them will end the business. Making this mental shift from "everything will end" to "we'll switch to plan B, C, or D" has been one of the biggest leaps in his effectiveness as a founder. My biggest regret has been that I stressed too much about things that were going to work out. I made roadblocks out of speed bumps. Rob Walling. The funding decision. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 30 of 40. Walling positions the funding decision under mindset because the mechanics are simple. The internal struggle is what's actually challenging. His view: funding is a tool, not a religion. Being anti-funding is like being anti-hammers. When funding makes sense, funding can save founders years by allowing them to hire earlier, invest in compliance sooner, and scale marketing before bootstrapping would permit. Examples from tiny seed companies. Castos used funding to hire senior sales and development people instead of juniors, compressing years of learning. Signwell used funding to get SOC 2 Type 2 and HIPAA compliance early, unlocking major enterprise deals. SavvyCal used funding for SEO and marketing investment that shaved a year off organic growth in personal terms. In business, money saves years. If you're working nights and weekends, raising enough to fund a year of your salary can be transformative. When funding doesn't make sense, Walling recommends against raising before meaningful product market fit because your valuation is lower, you're likely to burn through most of it finding PMF, and money exacerbates bad decisions, it doesn't fix them. If you don't know what you're doing, more money means bigger mistakes faster. Don't torch your cap table. Common cap table mistakes that make companies uninvestable. Giving too much equity to an early agency, advisor, or investor. Examples: founder owning only 30% after giving 70% to an agency. Giving 60% to an early investor who put in $50,000, not vesting founder equity. If a co-founder leaves after 6 months but owns 33%, you're working for the next decade to put money in their pocket. Always vest founder equity. Standard is 4 years with 1 year cliff. Talk to a lawyer before setting up any equity structure. The 3 drawbacks of funding. Time investment. A typical angel round can feel like a part-time job for 3 to 6 months. Added complexity. Every investor on your cap table adds reporting requirements and signature obligations. Selling equity. Funding only creates value if you can grow the business's value faster than the equity you sell. Finding community, masterminds and mentors. Why masterminds matter. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 31 of 40. A mastermind is a small group of founders with similar trajectories who meet regularly to share wins, problems, and advice. Walling started championing them a decade ago after experiencing their impact firsthand. 3 benefits. Growth. Get informed advice from people who understand your industry and situation. Get blind spots identified by people who have different ones. Accountability. External commitments are more powerful than internal ones. Your mastermind will tell you things your spouse would tell you but you'd ignore. Support. Entrepreneurs are social beings. Sharing vulnerabilities and successes with others who understand magnifies your experience. MicroConf has matched nearly 1,000 founders across 50 countries through its mastermind matching service. How to choose a mentor. Walling recommends 1 or 2 mentors, not 15. Too many causes information overload and conflicting tactics. Choose someone whose path you want to follow and who resonates with you as both a founder and a human. Questions to ask: have they accomplished what I want to accomplish? Could they do it again, or did they get lucky? Do they have a reasonable personal life? Do they treat people well? Achieving success through means you're unwilling to replicate isn't a template worth following. Do you want to be like them, and are you willing to do what they've done? Mentors in this context includes both direct relationships and indirect ones, following a founder's podcast, blog, or book from a distance. Avoiding and recovering from burnout. The warning signs. Walling burned out in 2015 during Drip's hypergrowth phase, despite the business going well. The signs: listlessness, days of staring at his Trello board unmotivated, lack of presence at home, low-grade frustration at all times. A mix of depression and frustration, not the kind you can clear up with a weekend away, but a long-term, deep sense of tiredness. The root cause: doing too many tasks that the company needed, that he was good at, but that brought him no joy. He kept hiring in sales, engineering, and customer success instead of hiring for operations, administration, the work he actually disliked. The 3-circle framework. Jason Cohen's framework from a SaaStr talk. Circle 1. Things you're happy doing. Circle 2. Things you're good at. Circle 3. Things your company needs. The sweet spot is the intersection of all 3. The danger zone is doing things in circles 2 and 3 but not 1. Things you're good at that the company needs but that bring you no joy. That's the path to burnout. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 32 of 40. Recovering from burnout. Burnout rarely fixes itself. Requires significant changes to habits and patterns, including stepping away for weeks. Left unaddressed, it worsens and can cause long-term damage. If you find yourself in this situation, consider working with a professional who specializes in founders and high-performing individuals. Walling's wife, Dr. Sherry Walling, is one such resource. Their book, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Keeping Your sh*t to her, addresses this directly. Founder retreats, one of the 2 things Walling credits most for his success as a founder, along with masterminds. A founder retreat is a period of intentional, distraction-free solo reflection, without podcasts, movies, books, or projects. Just you, a notebook, and silent CE. Why retreats work. In the constant noise of building a company, many realizations never have space to surface. In silence, things settle. Walling describes the 2.5-hour drive to his first retreat as the beginning of the settling process. I started feeling everything I hadn't had time to feel for the past year. In the silence, I had sudden realizations because I was finally giving them quiet time to emerge. During his first retreat, Walling was on the verge of exiting the startup world entirely. The retreat revealed that entrepreneurship was his life's work, not the cause of his burnout. His decisions were. He came back and launched Tiny Seed. How to do a founder retreat. Book a hotel alone. No podcasts, movies, books, or work projects. Bring a notebook. Allow the first hours to be uncomfortable. The mind resists silence at first. Walling now does one retreat per year and considers it one of the most important things he does for himself, his business, and his family. His wife Sherry wrote the Zen Founder Guide to Founder Retreats, which provides specific questions, a 4-step process, and a toolkit for getting the most from the experience. Key takeaway: your psychology is a business asset. Manage it as deliberately as your marketing or product. Build community, masterminds, find mentors, protect against burnout, and periodically step back to reflect. The internal game determines the external outcome. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 33 of 40, part 8. Frameworks reference, all key concepts at a glance. Core strategic frameworks. The stair-step method. Step 1. Simple product with a single marketing channel, WordPress plugin, Shopify add-on. Goal: generate revenue, learn the ropes. Step 2. Double down on what worked. Repeat until you own your time. Step 3. Standalone SaaS. Now you have the skills, confidence, and cash to take on this complexity. The 3 high, 3 low metrics framework. Low: minimize, customer acquisition cost, sales effort, churn. High: maximize, annual contract value, expansion revenue, referrals. These 6 metrics, together with MRR and growth rate, tell you everything you need to know about the current and future health of your SaaS. The 3-factor marketing framework. Evaluate every marketing approach on speed. How quickly does it produce results? Cost: how much does it require? And scalability: can you turn up the volume? Combine with ICE scoring, impact, confidence, ease, to prioritize among your top options. The risk versus certainty framework. Certainties equals known solutions that require execution. Right pointing arrow: hire these out or delegate. Risks equals unknown solutions that require iteration. Right pointing arrow: keep for yourself. Your job as a scaling founder is to progressively eliminate yourself from certainties so you can focus entirely on risks. The efficiency versus effectiveness distinction. Efficiency equals doing tasks quickly. Effectiveness equals doing the right tasks. A founder who works 4 effective hours beats a founder who works 10 efficient ones. Prune your task list ruthlessly by asking which items actually move the business forward. The SaaS cheat codes, all 6. Walling introduces 6 cheat codes throughout the book, mechanisms that provide disproportionate leverage. Cheat code 1. Recurring revenue: the foundational advantage of SaaS. Compounding, recession, resistant, highly valued in acquisitions. Every other business model wishes it had this. Cheat code 2. Expansion revenue: pricing tied to customer success, value metrics, so that customers pay more as they get more value. The mechanism that enables net negative churn. Build it into your pricing from day one. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 34 of 40. Cheat code 3. Dual funnels: running both a wide, low, touch funnel, high volume, low price, and a narrow, high, touch funnel, low volume, high price, simultaneously. The low, touch funnel builds brand and word of mouth. The high, touch funnel drives revenue per customer. Cheat code 4. Virality: when using the product exposes it to new potential customers. Strong viral loops, Slack, calendar apps, signature tools, versus weak viral loops, branded free, plan watermarks. Nearly impossible to retrofit, design for virality from the start. Cheat code 5. Net negative churn: when expansion revenue from existing customers exceeds gross revenue lost to churn. Revenue grows even without new customers. Reduces required CAC and creates compounding growth. Requires both low gross churn and strong expansion revenue. Cheat code 6. Moats, integrations, network effect, strong brand, own traffic channels, high switching costs. These 4 moats compound over time and protect against competition. Build them deliberately as the business scales. The 4 moats of bootstrapped SaaS in order of Walling's recommended priority. Integrations. Each integration is a lock-in mechanism, builds exponentially with ecosystem size, brand, reputation and market recognition, driven by consistent positioning and customer experience, own traffic channels, SEO, content, community, durable but algorithm dependent, high switching costs, built into product architecture, APIS, complex workflows, organizational buy-in funding decision framework. Walling's criteria for when funding makes sense. You have meaningful product market fit, don't raise before you have a specific, deployable plan for the capital. You found bootstrapper friendly capital that doesn't force you onto the VC treadmill. The time and equity cost is worth the years you'll save. Red flags. Given too much equity to early advisors, agencies, or investors, founder owns less than 50%. Not vesting founder equity, raising before product market fit. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 35 of 40. Pricing decision framework, a condensed summary of Walling's pricing principles. If no one complains about your price, you're priced too low. Never promise to grandfather customers forever. Rob's rule of 10. Only consider raising prices for existing customers if it will grow MRR by 10% plus. Enterprise pricing should be 10 to 20x standard plan. Aspirational pricing. Set a price that reflects where the product is going, not just where it is today. Revisit pricing every 6 to 12 months. Churn management framework, early stage. Focus on why people churn, not the number. Fix PMF first. Growth stage. Churn rate becomes critical for plateau calculation and valuation. Key levers. Onboarding, help customers find the minimum path to awesome quickly. Pricing tier design. Higher priced customers always churn less. Exit surveys, short, direct, personal. Learn why people leave. Segmentation, by pricing tier, marketing channel, and cohort. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 36 of 40. Part 9. Key quotes and memorable insights from Rob Walling. Build your business, not your slide deck. Rob Walling, bootstrappers don't run out of money, they run out of motivation. Rob Walling, if no one's complaining about your price, you're probably priced too low. Rob Walling, subscription revenue is a business cheat code. Rob Walling, I made roadblocks out of speed bumps. My biggest regret is that I stressed too much about things that were going to work out. Rob Walling, more than half of being a successful founder is managing your own psychology. Rob Walling, in business, money saves years. Rob Walling, no one has ever said, I fired that person too soon. Rob Walling, on hiring and firing from founders and industry leaders. When selling SaaS, think of yourself as an unpaid expert who's helping the pros. PECT solve their problem using software. Ina Volset, Tiny Seed County, founder, switching from low to high touch was really hard for me because it wasn't what I wanted, but it's what propelled us to product market fit. How you sell is as important as what you sell. Aaron Carsover, Agent Methods, segmenting churn by acquisition channel has been really helpful for us. Learning that the LTV of a pay-per-click lead is way lower than average saved us from wasting a lot of money. Aaron Carsover, the right question is what should you be doing differently now in order to build a company that's more healthy and prosperous, and also avoid this balloon payment of emotional toil at the end. Jason Cohen, WP Engine, people think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on. But that's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 other good ideas. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. Steve Jobs from The Foreword by Jason Cohen. There are key areas, early in the life of a bootstrap company, where lack of competence is a leading cause of death. Dozens of twittering successful bootstrappers agree, for example, that picking the right market was the primary cause of their success. Jason Cohen, WP Engine founder. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 37 of 40. You can make the best possible decisions in poker and still lose. In systems that equal parts skill and luck, you must be diligent and intentional in making the best possible decisions, recognizing that luck is a real but uncontrollable force. Jason Cohen. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 38 of 40. Part 10. Synthesis. The complete SaaS Playbook. The underlying philosophy. Walling's playbook rests on a few foundational beliefs that permeate every chapter. 1. Markets matter more than products. The single most important decision is market selection. A great product in a weak market will fail. Build in markets where people are already paying for a solution to the problem you're solving. In competitive markets, find the underserved niche. 2. Pricing is the biggest lever almost every founder undercharges. Underpricing limits not just revenue but the entire set of marketing channels available to you. Raise prices earlier and more aggressively than feels comfortable. The market will tell you when you've gone too far. 3. Marketing is non-negotiable. Products don't sell themselves. Marketing strategy, deciding which channels to invest in what order, and measuring the results, must be a founder competency. You don't need to be a marketing expert, but you need to understand marketing well enough to manage it. 4. Metrics are your co-pilot. Data-driven decisions compound over time. Founders who track MRR, growth rate, the 3 high, 3 low metrics, and segment their churn consistently make better decisions than those who rely on gut alone. Track everything. Segment everything. 5. Team building is a skill. Hire slowly, fire quickly. Delegate roles, not tasks. Build a high-performing team culture, not a family. Your job as a founder is to progressively fire yourself from every role that can be handed off, so you can focus on the work only you can do. 6. Mindset is half the battle. The internal game, managing psychology, seeing speed bumps as speed bumps, building community, avoiding burnout, and periodically retreating to reflect, is as important as any tactical decision. Founders who thrive are not smarter or luckier than those who don't. They manage themselves better. The Bootstrap to Millions path, a condensed roadmap. Phase 1. Finding product market fit, $0 to $10 KMRR. Primary focus. Figure out if you've built something people want and are willing to pay for. Do everything that doesn't scale. Get on calls with customers. Iterate relentlessly. Don't optimize for growth until the bottom of your funnel is healthy. Track why people churn, qualitative, not just how much. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 39 of 40. Phase 2. Escape velocity, $10,000 minus $50 KMRR. You have a repeatable customer acquisition process. Now optimize the funnel, improve onboarding, trial. 2. Paid conversion, churn reduction. Make your first key hires, usually support, then sales or marketing. Calculate your plateau number and start working NG to extend it. Begin building marketing channels with longer time horizons. Phase 3. Scaling, $50,000 minus $250 KMRR. Invest in team, building and process. Hire project, level and owner, level thinkers. Build moats deliberately, integrations, content, brand. Consider whether modest funding could accelerate growth. Revisit pricing aggressively. You likely have pricing power you haven't used. Optimize all 6 of the 3 high, 3 low metrics. Phase 4. Operating at scale, $250,000 plus MRR, professional leadership structure. Multiple marketing channels working simultaneously. Net negative churn, ideally. Strong brand in your niche. Moats that make it expensive for customers to leave and expensive for competitors to match. Optionally, seek a acquisition or continue growing profitably. What most founders get wrong. Drawing on his experience with 125 plus investments and thousands of founders through MicroConf, Walling sees these mistakes most frequently. Underpricing, the number one avoidable mistake, driven by psychology, not market reality, ignoring marketing, hoping the product sells itself, then wondering why growth stalls, building features instead of finding customers, especially common in technical founders, hiring too slowly, staying in every role too long, leading to burnout and bottlenecks, worrying too much about competition, following competitors obsessively instead of serving customers, chasing siren songs, localization, white labeling, new verticals, instead of fixing the real problem, turning speed bumps into roadblocks, catastrophizing normal business challenges, ignoring the internal game, not building community, not managing burnout, not retreating to reflect what successful founders do differently. They find strong product market fit before scaling marketing spend. They price aggressively and raise prices regularly. They build 1 to 2 marketing channels that work and scale them deeply before diversifying. They track the right metrics and make decisions based on data, not assumptions. They hire for roles, not tasks, and fire when necessary. They build moats, integrations, brand, own traffic, high switching costs. They cultivate masterminds, mentors, and communities for support and accountability. They treat problems as speed bumps, not roadblocks. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling, comprehensive summary, page 40 of 40. They protect their energy, take retreats, and manage their psychology as deliberately as their business. Recommended reading. Walling recommends these books throughout the playbook. Obviously Awesome by April Dunford. Best Positioning Book for SaaS. Traction by Gabriel Weinberg. Marketing Channel Selection Framework. Hacking Growth by Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown. Growth Experimentation. Who? A Method for Hiring by Jeff Smart and Randy Street. Hiring Framework. Product Demos That Sell by Stelly EFTI. Sales Demo Execution. The Entrepreneur's Guide to Keeping Your SHT Together by Sherry Walling with Rob Walling. Founder Psychology and Burnout. Start Small, Stay Small by Rob Walling. For Lifestyle Bootstrappers. Predecessor to this book. Before the Exit by Dan Andrews. Thinking Through Acquisitions, Communities and Resources. Microconf, microconf.com. Largest community for non-venture track SaaS founders. Online, in-person events, mastermind matching, funding. TinySeed, tinyseed.com. Bootstrapper, friendly SaaS accelerator. Funding without the venture treadmill. Startups for the Rest of Us. Startups for the Rest of US.com. Walling's weekly podcast, 650 plus episodes. Indie Hackers, indiehackers.com. Community for developers building side projects into full-time incomes. Mastermind Jam, mastermindjam.com. Mastermind matching service for founders, SaaSplaybook.com. Companion website with current metrics, benchmarks, hiring resources, and book extras. End of summary. The SaaS Playbook by Rob Walling. ISBN 9798987746523. Copyright 2023 Rob Walling, SaaSplaybook.com.